Welcome everyone. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. For those of you wondering what this is, well, this is Dungeons and Dragons, or more specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. Hello! And we have a little moment from audience's soul's roommate. It's pretty busy in his head. So, like I was saying, people playing Dungeons and Dragons with roommate making fun of them. So if this isn't something you want to watch, well, just look on each side of the screen, depending on where you're watching this. There are suggestions. Unless you're watching this on my Patreon, there's no other suggestions. But honestly, if you're watching this on my Patreon, I'm impressed. I'm flattered. I'm ecstatic. And this means you actually want to watch this, so that comment doesn't apply. But for everyone else, if you're here because you've been here before, you've watched us, you've liked us, you like laughing at us, you like both us and laughing at us, or one of your friends told you that you could all do all of those things, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And we hope you're going to enjoy the evening as we once again traumatize our players. And as you've noticed, there's one picture missing. Apparently, Tobiashi's mind is taking a work break. He's going to be busy doing something else at work. So, unfortunately, his character is going to be uncorrected. Sorry. Probably going to help if I drink a little bit of water. Uncorrected. No, it doesn't help. Unusually silent. Okay, so. Well, that's about everything we had to say. If you like the crackling fire and cricket in the background. The crickets aren't very strong right now, but if you like them, ambient music. There is a link below, either in all of the panels if you're watching this on Twitch, and in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. And later on, there's going to be Chaotic Calling joining us, most likely. And welcome to everyone who's already here. Since I'm not logged in on my iPad, I can't see who you are. But I know that there are some people, I always watch the statistics after each stream. So I know there are some people there. So hi! Say something in the chat. No? Okay. Alright then. Let's get started. So, last few episodes. Actually, the whole reason why the party has come to these mountains has finally come to an end. As they've climbed the mountain, they made their way through roads. I'd like to say defended, but that's going to give the wrong impression. So, no, not defended, but infesting the roads, yeah. Followers of a hunter cult who has been a little bit of a thorn in the sides of the players and probably more the cult itself. Jorg, please blink. I think we lost him.
He can't. His
I'm
computer's just restarted.
Oh, okay, good.
Luckily, I have a good computer now.
You were just staring right at the camera in a slightly weird way. So, all right.
Make sure everything's plugged in.
So saying they made their way through the mountain, through a few challenges, but on their way they made friends. They lost friends, some permanently, some temporarily. They met up with friends that they thought they had permanently lost, but was only permanently, although one of them is currently missing tonight. So it's a little bit more than infrequently, you know. But yeah, but they managed to make their way through the mountains and find themselves in front of a monastery, which they were told that this was the main goal. Finding the monastery, as they had been asking for help. Once they got there, they realized that they needed more help than was implied, and they generously volunteered themselves to help them survive. They defended it through a night of siege, through a second night of siege. Then they decided to take the fight directly to their enemy, and they entered the mountain. They found the temple where they were making a ritual. They faced a partially summoned avatar of the Hunter God. They were annoyingly lucky during the fights in the temple, with me rolling more than one natural one in a row. But they survived it. They found a little bit of loot. They made a new friend. At least a new friend survived. And now they went back to the monastery, where they met up with some of the more impressive members of the garden, the organization that have been given them quests, and who gave them all their special object. Once they were reunited with those, they made their way back to the monastery. They learned of a impressive fight during the night against those they had left behind to guard the monastery. And apparently another summoning of the Hunter God. But the temple held. Everyone is reuniting, rejoicing. And Remy decided to reunite with Terry, who had been left at the monastery. And apparently terrorized a group of people, which, if you're trying to have an image of how whomever was trying to give him water describe it, feels like a huge creature that just opened a maw filled with teeth and then emitted a sound, and then there was lights, and then it just looks like a nightmarish creature. And that's why they barricaded the place, threw a few objects in the room as a way to distract whatever was inside, and left it there. But when Remy made its way back inside of this sealed room, he just found Terry, mostly exactly like he was left. A hyper-intelligent 20 days old child. And this is where the episode ended. Last episode, I remember that I said that just as you are, after giving him dripping water his way, at the end of the comprehend language spell, you heard something, but I misspoke. I thought comprehend language lasted 10 minutes. No, it lasts an hour.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Did I really do this for an hour?
No, most likely just 10, 15 minutes. So, yeah, no, I misspoke. I thought it was 10 minutes, but it's an hour. So there's plenty of time left for you to figure a way to become friends with Terry. Although might not be that easy to do, seeing as how he views you. But, well, that's what you were doing. So, to be fair, we're going to go back to the other half of the team who was patiently waiting on their side. Jorg, who had said that he wanted to help take care of Terry. If you want, you could probably... You can't see Remy, but nothing is preventing you from trying to find where Terry is. If not, well, you're sitting close to audience, whose attention is completely drawn in because on one side there are 3 women he is interested in and a giant tree he is friend with. Although probably most of his attention are on the 3 women. So,
Yeah.
what's happening on your side, jargon audience?
Jorg is gonna go start searching for the box for Terry, and by proxy, Raimi.
Your mic's a little
Well,
screwed
that's gonna
up.
be harder to find.
Your microphone is slightly weird.
Oh, my microphone is weird. Is it still weird?
It's better,
Yes.
but it's
Okay.
still slightly weird, like mechanical, but very much
I'm
more.
unplugging my headphones and I'm gonna plug them back in. There's something weird going on when my computer restarted too.
Okay. It's all. Yep.
Audience would probably start trying to, like, because they were planning to have a feast tonight or whatever.
Well, that's what Core is hoping. Yes.
Yeah, that's what Core is hoping. So, audience would probably start going and trying to prepare and plan for that, because audience like feasts.
All right.
How do I sound now?
Audience would get on the party planning committee. I don't know if there's a committee yet. If not, he's going to start one.
Well, right now people are mostly very impressed by the display of strength that the higher leveled party members of the garden have put up, and also that they have a bunch of kids just reenacting the fight of the previous night. I'm pretty sure they're not thinking a lot about a large feast.
All right. Does that mean audience needs to go make a speech about setting up
Well, yeah,
victory
sure.
and celebrating victory? I
Sure.
think it does.
Go ahead,
Alright, audience is gonna go make a speech. Audience is gonna basically. I assume everyone's kind of looking at the party and the tree anyway, so I assume most people are kind of looking towards where I am anyway.
A lot of the peasants are there, yeah. Those who are taking care of their kids, well, they want to be where their kids are. And everyone else wants to be where they feel the safest.
Alright. Audience then will pull out his mace. You know, that always works well. Get that beacon of light shining out.
Yeah.
And he'll basically be like, he'll go through, he'll be like, we have all faced many trials that have tested our courage, our wits, our strength in the past few weeks. We've all had to perhaps sacrifice something, but we have all made it through this hardship together. We have defeated the enemy, and in defeat, we must celebrate the light that comes with that. Let us all gather tonight and have a feast in celebration of our lives and the trials we have overcame.
Alright, make a persuasion roll. See how everyone reacts. Come on, it's your thing.
Yeah. Alright, first roll of the night, it's usually either a nat 1 or a nat 20, so that's what I've been noticing recently, so we'll see how this comes out. Or it can be a 10. That's solid too.
Right in the middle. Well, you see some people reacting. Some people seem to be for the idea. Mostly parents whose kids immediately reacted to eating a lot. So
Yeah.
immediately you have the attention of all the kids who see a beacon of light, and then you start talking about food and staying up late, although you didn't exactly say it. You know, they make the connection. It's of course you have. That's why you got a 10, because those who have kids, some of them looked at you and sort of went, yeah, no, that's good, it's gonna make them forget everything. And then you saw other parents just look at you as if you said the worst thing that you could possibly say.
It's fine. I'm 15. I'm here to party. Parents don't like me anyway.
As for the people of the monastery, well, you know, you see there's ambiguity in in the way that they look at you. They don't think it's a bad idea, but you sort of see this reflection in their mind. Yeah, that's a good idea. With what food? I hope they have food with them. So
We had stores of food.
yeah, you brought in a lot of dried food so that they would last long. I don't know what kind of feast you can do with that, but
I can make berries. After a long rest.
I think we still have some mushrooms growing in our milk.
Here, everyone, grab the mushrooms.
Oh, that's why I need a party planning committee. That will be the next thing I'll bring up. I'll raise my hand. I'll be like, all right, who wants to help me set this up? Who's volunteering?
Immediately you hear Core. I heard there are really large birds flying here. I'm gonna go hunting. He just leaves.
Alright, I'm like, alright, Core got the meat. I trust Core to hunt something. It's one thing I feel like I can rely on him for.
I never beat
What else we got?
Well, you see a few of the monks just go, well, it's a bit young, but we've been trying to make mead and
How much strong my board is.
a little bit of wine. It might be a little bit young, but sure, we can add this to the feast. No problem.
Alright. Meat and mead. That's a good time. I know we have a garden here, so we probably have a few vegetables.
In that case, you hear Turane go, then I can probably make it grow a little more. I don't know what will grow in it, but whatever it will be most likely be larger than usual.
That's weird.
Awesome. Alright, I'm like, alright. Turne's on the vegetables. Alright. Who here is great at sparkling and dazzling? Who here's good at decorations, tables, making things lively?
You see Temptress go, well, I can certainly put up a show everyone will remember.
Will it kill everybody?
Well, honey, that depends. How strong are their will against temptation?
I'm gonna kind of look at the peasants.
She
who are,
gives
already
you-
look a little bit off.
She gives you a wink also as she's saying this.
Yeah, I'm like looking at the peasants. I'm like, maybe not the play, maybe not the idea.
Like on a scale of 1 to Jessica Rabbit.
Well, if it's just physically, that she's got magic.
Yeah. I'm like, where was that guy? I was like, there's that one guy who I said should try being a bard. Where was he at? Is he around?
You're training to be a bard. Good lord, how long has that been? Was it in the mountain?
Yeah, he was from like last episode because he was trying to tell like the tale of the tree.
Oh yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay, yeah,
that
yeah.
guy.
That guy.
Like, where's that guy? Here's your chance.
You hear him go, "Yeah, sure, all right, I'll do it." And
All right.
you hear
I'll
a
be
voice
like,
just
"All
go in the background. Oh, not that again.
All right. We got some entertainment. Might be weak, but we got some entertainment. And then I'll be like, all right, I can work on the decorations and stuff. I'm decent at that. If someone wants to help me, they're welcome, but I can work on that.
You
Okay.
see Amiali look around and say, "Well, I think I can make something that'll look a little festive."
I feel like I'm about to be upstaged, but I'll agree. Whatever I had planned. Wasn't a lot.
You see her go to the center of this large area. She takes a chakram that she places on her back. She just makes it spin once and throw it up in the air, but it remains on level, and when it reaches the approximate height of the sides, you see the black cloth that she has just spread in 4 directions and reach an impressive length. You didn't expect to see that much silk just appear, make a very nice web on top of everyone, and then turn from what to you looks like sheer black to pure silver color.
Audience takes a log and starts working on building a table. I'm here to silk.
Going somewhere. That's going.
Like, and I got table.
I don't know why, but I keep thinking that audience looks at one of the kids and say, "She's gonna be my girlfriend one day."
Nah,
Let that rumor spread.
I wouldn't be that bad. Also, with her hearing, she'd probably hear it. So, no.
Yeah, you know she has a very strong connection to her silk, and now it looks like her silk is covering the yard.
Yeah. Audience isn't saying anything he might regret right now.
Alright, you have someone who's... you have a monk that arrives. He looks like someone who's used to working with food. He gets to you and says, "You said you were gonna plan everything. We have tables. You don't need to make one. How about you come in the kitchen?"
Okay. That works well, because if no one remembered about Audience backstory, Audience was in fact a cook for a while. Back in the, his cooking utensils are part of his backstory.
Yeah, you cooked a lot on boats, but yeah, you cooked a lot.
Not on boats, but in the Dragon Village, we all had to learn how to cook to help out, and Audience was one of the better cooks.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Audience will be like, yeah, I love to cook. I'll join you.
You hear him go, "I have to warn you, there was a break-in at the food store during the night. It's a bit of a mess, but
We can work with it.
doesn't seem to be a lot missing. But there do seem to be small bites missing on quite a few vegetables and fruit.
We can cut out the areas where the bites are.
Okay. Then come on, follow me then. And you had a lot of people looking
Hansi
confused.
quietly whispers out to the world, "Yes, ladies, you can cook too," and then walks away with it.
You see a lot of peasant looking slightly confused, but a bit enthusiastic. You know, it's alright. There's gonna be alcohol that hasn't been aged long enough, and maybe strange meat and strange vegetable. It's gonna be a special night. One way or the other.
What?
Alright, well, you see a few peasants just going with different monks, and some of them are going inside the where everyone sleeps, and they're gonna go get some stuff. Alright, so Jorg, since with all of this, as audience is making his speech, and you're hearing him with one ear, but your attention has slowly drifted trying to find Remy and Terry. So I'll have you make your perception roll. See how long you take to find them.
Might take a while. I got an 11.
Yeah, alright. Well, I'll take into consideration the time that Remy took trying to unseal the room and everything he's done. You're probably going to be arriving in not too long, but it's going to... You sort of have this feeling of being a detective at one point. You know, you're trying to figure out where he is. You ask someone, and someone just stares at you oddly when you ask him about Terry, and then you describe Terry, and then you hear someone scream and run away. Try and find him, but you can't find that person. And then eventually you find traces that looks like traces that a slug would have made, but you know Terry's not slimy. And when you get closer to this, you realize that, oh, okay, it's a weird mix of stuff. There's stale alcohol, drying fruits, and flour mixed into this. Sort of like a bread that hasn't been cooked yet.
Alright.
And you start following this trail slowly. And this is gonna lead you to Remy at one point. Alright. So. Well, in that case, we go back to Remy. So, Remy, you still have maybe 35 minutes of comprehend language. And so far, and this is a bit odd because this is the first time that you can actually associate thing with what's happening. Like I said, you go outside, you smell a flower, no word comes into mind. But inside the room, you know that a skunk smell means don't get closer or I'm gonna attack. And an odd variety of smells, just seems to be a whole bunch of smell thrown at the same time, basically represent the same thing as the interrogation mark. So it can be used for different things. But right now, you know that it's expressing confusion at the fact that the destroyer of world has given him water.
Right. So, Remy, like, by the way, how long has the party been awake?
It's probably in the areas of Near 11 and or noon.
I mean, like literally the number of hours.
So
If it's less than 8, then it answers my question.
yes, it's less than 8.
Okay.
It's probably like 4 or 5 hours.
All right. So then Raimi's lantern is still lit, so he's going to pull it out and set it across the room. Not across the room, but like kind of like down in the middle room to get a maybe better idea of where like I guess more specifically place it so that there's a bit of light going into that fort. Just so he can see if the box is in there.
All right. So I've changed it. It's not because it's raining outside, but since it's no longer morning and there's no danger, I thought that hearing a wolf in the background was going to be the best thing. It's not raining, but I like the little ambiance. It helps people calm down. Because, they're so distracted and they're just on fire in the chat, just talking. So, alright, so shining a little bit of light inside. You see that there was a window in there, but it's been sealed. And shining light inside, one thing you do see, recognize easily, is that a lot of stuff has just been thrown inside. As if to distract or attack something that was perceived to be a threat. And some of it has been pushed together to sort of form a makeshift fort. You see the little trail of slimy old alcohol flour on the ground going right through the hole that the Terry has bored inside the side of the wall. You do notice that there are a few marks of acid spit around the door where you are. So projectile were exchanged. But you notice that there's larger stuff that have been just pushed or thrown at the back of this room. And the things that have been arranged in sort of a fort manner are positioned not completely symmetrical. Slightly, maybe a foot or two more to the left, but placed to form a defensive position around something. And since you don't see the box inside the room, and Terry is usually inside his box, maybe it's somewhere inside of that pile.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently
Okay.
Terry is defending.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. So, I know for a fact that so Raimi, to a certain degree, like at least has like a set base for what uh let me just do this. First to Raimi's memory, as you know, originally when Fisher and Terry were trying to develop their tapping language, was there did there seem to be like any code for safety?
Make an intelligence roll.
Okay, let's see. Maybe it was too early to do this. Like, I tried to see if I could. Okay, that's going to be 14.
Okay. The problem is that you're not 100% sure what it actually means, but on a few occasions after a fight, you did see Fisher. You did hear Fisher utter a series of tap. So it might have been some sort of answer to what situation you are on right now. And since he always waited after a fight to do this, maybe it means everything's okay right now. But you know that it's an assumption you're making and not a fact.
Uh-huh. Okay, he's at least going to make the attempt. He'll first just like, in fact, he'll even make sure that he is just like sitting down cross-legged and then using the mage hand, making the approximate tapping sound to this, what Fisher had used before. Like basically make a knocking sound.
Mm-hmm. Well, a knocking sound isn't really hard. You could just also take the hilt of one of the dagger and just. So how would you respond to that? Alright, you still have the Oh, hold on. I have to read what comprehend language says. That's an interesting point my mind has just made.
Well, I know what you're going to read, and since Terry is developing a language, that there's really no other way to...
No, because he is developing a language, but the tapping sounds is a language that they've made between one another. It's already been a language that's sort of being confirmed. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you're tapping, and this lets you on that there might be a little difference between your intention in saying something and what is being taken. Technically, you are speaking a language by tapping. But you tap what you believe is for safety, and all you hear is the echo of your tap in the room. There's no translation of it. Meaning what you said isn't actually considered a language by at least two persons. Two creature. Meaning it's either too simple or you think you know the intent that Fisher had, and you know that that's not what it means to Terry. So it could be all of those things. The way Terry reacts is with a skunk smell.
Okay. Alright, then apparently Raimi has to do this the long and hard way. So Raimi is going to since he didn't get a chance to properly copy this because he wasn't allowed to, or rather, he wasn't given the time in order to do so.
Yeah.
Raimi is first going to. Are there any strewn about papers in the room?
What was it used for? It's a bit hard to find, but yeah, not a lot of it. I get the feeling that maybe this was a place where someone used it to sleep in. So it's just a few pages.
That's all. That's all he really needs. Raimi, not moving from his spot, will mage hand one of the papers over to him, and he is going to take a moment to recall some specific parts of entries that he remembers reading from, Terry's air quote journal.
Okay.
And essentially what Raimi is going to do here is he is going to take some certain pieces of it and, with the aid of comprehend languages, dissect certain concepts from the individual symbols as he is writing them.
Wow.
And
okay. That's...
The overall intention here is that Raimi, because he honestly doesn't have have time or the access to learn the language in full right now. Try to actually learn it rather than cheat with comprehend languages. But what he is going to do is he is going to do his best to look for understand what some of these symbols mean, either in isolation or in conjunction, using entries that he has read before, and look for the words, and look specifically for the words, because I at least know not the words, but the concepts of specifically realm and safety, or safe. Or more specifically, his words, my realm.
Wow, okay.
And what he's going to do then is, if he is able to parse these out, he is going to, with the aid of his lantern, he is going to carve those individual symbols or group of symbols and shine them kind of like shadow style onto the wall, so that it is easily visible for him to read. Because he did recognize that he couldn't read things very well when things were written down.
Okay. Okay. While you're doing this, Jorg, there is a skunky smell that's drawing your attention.
All right.
It's sort of a faint smell of a skunk, rolling around in the air. You see a few peasants, few inhabitants of the monastery just go, oh no, I thought we hunted all of those. Not again. But yeah.
It's around here, I guess.
Well, you gather they had a small problem with skunk at one point. So following your nose and following the trail, you'd make your way to the room where Remy is. And and you'd catch him right in the middle of his endeavor of trying to figure out this language, trying to isolate phrases that his Kenku mind can latch onto. And there is a huge clue at the entrance where you see Neifa just resting her back on the wall and looking inside, looking slightly exasperated, but also sort of you can recognize in her eyes that these are these moments of, well, it's not a bad idea. I don't think he realizes what he's doing right now. Okay, that's you see her passing those judgment like this a few moments.
All right. Well, I think I will. So, wait. So, she's judging Raimi right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will head over to Raimi and see what's going on. And also see why there's that stench coming from over here.
It's mostly gone right now. But yeah, you enter the room and you see Raimi writing something that looks a bit like what Terry writes on his box. But he's working really hard at this, and he seems to sometimes find it a little exasperating to try and remember how it was written, and then looking at it, and it doesn't seem to mean anything in Remy's eyes, so he keeps trying to change the wording. Hieroglyphic. Why do I have so much trouble with language today? Hieroglyphic.
Well, to be fair, I will say, to be fair, he would be using like minor illusion as an aid to at least have it right in front of him, so that he can try to parse it that way. But yeah, otherwise it's still as difficult as it sounds.
Make an intelligence roll, Remy, to see how well you fare on that really odd and special endeavor.
Where'd you go? I'm gonna pick the die with the clear. Oh, thank God. 18.
18. All right, you're making progress. You sort of, by the time that Jorg arrives in the room, you've sort of managed to identify one phrase, one sentence that sort of keeps reappearing at various places, and you sort of figured out, okay. And it translates to "my small realm." You know that this refers to Terry's box.
I don't want to interrupt Raimi, so I'm just gonna kind of approach quietly to see what's going on, and just peek over his shoulder.
Well, Remy, you have
it's not hard to peek under his shoulder, because right now he's squatted Indian style on the ground.
Yeah.
With such a high passive perception, Remy, you probably realize that Jorg is looming right over you. You suddenly see a shift in light as he's running.
I want to see if how. Man, I'm terrible with names in general. But I forgot the worm's name again. Terry's doing. Terry's just there, right? Too.
You don't see him right now. You see a large pile of stuff that looks like it was just thrown in the room. You see boxes, chair, overturned table, buckets. It's just been thrown inside of there. But there's a place where there seem to have been a few of those objects that have been placed in a way that protects a section of all this debris field. Maybe 1.5 feet wide. It's tall enough that you can't see what's behind it, but you do see that there are 3 pints of water resting on top of them, and there is a little cloth roof made over this. You also, because of Remy's light, you see this trail that you've been following that just entered the side of the wall outside, and you see it come inside of the room and go behind all of this debris.
Is his box in there? I'm gonna ask Ramy.
Ramy would, I guess Ramy in a woman's voice will say, "Oh, did you leave it in your room?" And then kind of like, not quite points, but kind of like gestures over toward the fort.
Alright. So, is that where he's living right now?
Ramy nods, but then also kind of gives the so-so motion.
I want to...
Just as you're hearing this, you hear this large crunch sound, which sounds like someone's cutting an onion in two. And then you see, or rather you hear, and you see a bitten onion being thrown over the walls of this place, just rolled on the ground.
Oh man, I take it he doesn't like what he's being fed.
Ramy puts up the so-so motion. And then Ramy points to the hole in the wall.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. Well, there's more holes in the walls in this place. It's been pretty ransacked, so I'm not going to worry about that one. I want to kind of go around the wall and see if I can find Terry in there.
Be careful, Ramy.
Uh-oh. Alright, I will give it a pretty wide berth if I can.
Alright. You slowly creep up to this fortification, and you look behind slowly, and you have this little moment of oh shit, but nothing happens as your eye peeks on the other side. You see Terry, mouth open, looking at your direction, and just as your eyes peek through, you hear. Then he seems to just go back to its things. And as your eye peeks through, you get to see something really unusual. You see one of the slab of wood that Fisher placed inside of Terry's box. It's right in front of him, and he is using his acid to write on it. Behind him, you see a variety of food, all packed in three neat piles. On one pile, you see mostly vegetables and one or two fruits. On the middle pile, mostly fruits, but you also recognize that most of them either taste bitter or sour. And on the last pile, it has a few fruits in it, maybe one or two vegetable, and a lot of dried meat. And there are the 3 mugs, 3 pints of water, and a smaller bowl of water on the ground. You also see this long piece of wood that has been slightly carved, and apparently there's something like string that has been tied to on each side to the front. It sort of makes a neat little handle.
Wow. Hey there, Terry. You, seem to be doing alright for yourself.
He looks at you the way that he always looks at all of you.
Got any news about Fisher?
He looks at you again, intently. You see him just go, and he goes back to writing.
Oh. Hey, Terry, do you know what a nod is?
He just keeps writing.
Oh man.
This would be the point to take an intelligence check.
Yeah. Raimi, you know what he's writing, right? You're writing.
Well, to you it looks fairly similar. Remy, because you have the spell going on, you know that half of what you're writing is just garbled things. It doesn't translate. But sometimes you just manage to, place a star there, and then suddenly a phrase appear. And just as he's saying this, you see a phrase appear that you remember reading in the beginning of the log. And it's one of the rare moments where he talk about safe. And the phrase just says, just to be safe, I won't let my guard down. That's not exactly what you want to find.
Well, the important thing is that after writing this, does it seem like a series of these arrangements, or more like one or two?
You get the feeling that just like normal common, arrangement of stars, those that really look like stars, like little cross, are most likely letters. And constellation, really dots placed in the form that would fit a constellation, explain concepts. Complex concepts.
So then, if Raimi is able to parse the specific phrases of, it's like my own realm, and that particular sentence, then Raimi is going to take that last sentence he was able to parse and derive which part of that arrangement refers to the word safe, or the concept of safe.
You see, this is where I have a problem, because your Kenku mind latches on full sentence, full concept.
Well, you see, that's why I'm cheating a bit here by saying Raimi is going to specifically cover things until it shows up.
Okay. Yeah, it would take a while, but you'd manage to cut the phrase in smaller pieces. Eventually realize that, alright, this arrangement of 6 star configuration makes you believe the word safe.
Yeah, this is the only way I know how to get to do this with a Kenku, because
And
so then with
it works
So
because
with that in mind-
it works because the word safe is a concept on its own. You wouldn't be able to identify small words that makes a phrase feels less like just an ensemble of adjective.
yeah. All right, so all right, so with that, like, even though, and just to be, and I guess in an air quote safe, Raimi is going to, on different sides of a small sheet of paper, like put one part to the phrase "my own realm," and on the other side, these 6-star arrangement meaning safe, and then he's going to hold it up to the light of his lantern toward the wall.
Okay, so you do this and you point it toward the wall. Jorg, you see this arrangement of stars just appearing on one wall. You see that Remy has put a lot of effort into making this, but right now Terry isn't looking at this. He's looking at this slab of wood that he's writing on.
I want to say, hey, wait a minute, Terry. Can you look at that wall? I want to. Does he respond?
Do you just say this?
Yeah, just say it at him.
He doesn't respond.
All right, I wanna lean forward and poke him. Try to get his attention. It's a gentle tap.
You just push him slightly, and just before you reach and as you touch his skin, you see him look at your finger and look at you.
Dex save.
Look at your finger. You see him open his mouth, and you just hear this little but you smell this weird arrangement of smell that you just can't recognize. It's sort of just a jumble of smells. But you, Remy, know that this reflects confusion. Because you comprehend language has helped you figure that out. Audience, while they're trying to do this, could you make a... I guess it's survival, as weird as it sounds. Survival roll. Oh, jeez.
That's a nat one.
Impressing the girls, I see.
I'm doing nothing. I'm cooking.
Yeah, no, because as you arrive in the kitchen and you go see in the food store, you see that, wow, it looks like an army of raccoon just went through this place and pulled everything to the ground, tasted a few things. You see a trail of this stuff that leaves the room. The floor is slightly sticky. You realize that there's one barrel of mead. There's a small hole at the bottom of it. It just looks like someone just poked a hole in it, and it just... And you see the same thing on the barrel of water. Damn it.
Well,
It's a battlefield. You know, it feels like a group of raccoon decided to wage war on a group of red pandas.
Yeah, that sounds
guess we'll work with what we have, which is like not a lot.
Well, no, there's a decent quantity. There's everything you brought in. There's all the water that Remy made appear with his decanter.
Got a lot of water.
So yeah, you look at this and sort of go, yes, this is going to require some imagination. Usually there's at least fresh meat in the kitchen of a dragonborn. Now that's all dried meat. There's a little bit of smoked meat.
Well, I'm waiting for Core to get back with the fresh meat.
All right. So basically you start cooking. I guess it's survival again. I think you have tools for this? Proficiency?
I do.
Well, in that case, you can make a survival roll.
I got really bad guns.
Well, no, it's not roll
I
a
actually don't know what I'm at.
roll a d20 and add your proficiency since you're proficient with these tools.
Okay, well that's the same as survival. So
Okay.
roll survival. Both of them are +3.
I was like,
I am not rolling well tonight.
thankfully that went well.
That's a 6.
don't-
I do not know how to cook with dry ingredients. I'm like, they're already dry. You just eat it. You don't cook with dry meat.
You see a lot
Not
of
my-
vegetables, and all right. You know you can make a interesting soup. You look outside. Man, I really hope Core doesn't take too long to come back. You know, you're a dragonborn. Meat is always a central component of cooking for dragonborn. Hey, Kelly calling.
Hey.
I'm probably late, sorry. Late realizing that they're there. Okay. Well, you do your best. You make a very fine soup while waiting for Core to come back. And you prepare a few vegetables. You don't know what it's going to be added with this, but you figure, you know, it's hard to go wrong with garlic and onions. Usually it's in almost everything.
To be fair, I could contact Core.
Go ahead.
I'll pull out my orb. I'll be like, I need to contact Core.
Syrah connects you with Core, no problem. You see Core appearing in the orb.
I'll be like, hey Core, how far is that meat out? I got most of the prep done, but I need the meat for the main course.
How fresh do you want it?
Fresh as it can be. Not alive. But
Oh, okay.
I feel like I needed to make that clear.
My Athalia's trying to go.
Alright, should be here in, I think that's the monastery. Under 15 minutes.
Alright. Sounds good. I'll hang out. Alright. I got my prep ready. I got my vegetables ready to do with that. Alright, we're prepped for the meat.
What have I done? I've given cell phones to the players.
You have.
Alright.
I'm gonna start emoji texting with Core. Me and Core are starting a chain going.
For some reason, Core always answered with a skull.
Only when I'm talking about fishing.
Too bad. He was looking forward to killing it. He did promise he would. He said that inside of the garden, it's hollowed ground, so he's not gonna try and kill him inside there. But outside the garden, it's free for all.
Good thing you got that revivify spell now, George. You might need it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. So. All right. Well, audience, you keep on preparing food. You have a monk there looking at you and just going, "Are you sure you should add salt? As much salt as that with this?"
Of course, it's Dragonborn's famous recipe, salty stew. Salt is in the name. So you have to add a lot of salt.
Oh, I always thought it meant something else. Okay. Well, you're a Dragonborn, so I guess you know what Dragonborns do.
Yep.
He lets you. He just follows your lead. Start peeling potatoes.
It's going to be a very heavy meal.
There's going to be a huge bowl of mashed potatoes at the center of the table. Alright, so we go back to Jorg and Remy. Jorg, Remy, you know that Terry is expressing confusion, but Jorg, you don't know that Terry is expressing confusion. You're expressing confusion, however.
What? Ew. Or actually, I'm confused by this smell. It's so complex.
With undertones of dandelions and fish. They don't
you
go
been
together, but
Yeah. Well, do you know Remy's trying to talk to you? Do you? I'm gonna try to. Does he? I try to remember if he knows what we're saying, or if I'm just babbling to him. Should I?
Were you there? I believe you were there in the room when they probed his mind.
Oh yeah.
You know that he doesn't understand a word when you're talking. You're not even sure he perceives the sounds.
Ah.
He was completely oblivious to everyone talking in the room.
Remy, what if you tried making those, like, on his board that he's writing on?
Raimi is like, well, first of all, Raimi has no visual of what's happening.
Oh, right. I can't. He's not looking at your whatever that is.
He's looking at you right now, Jorg.
He just burped at me.
Raimi is going to all right, so he's going to like now kind of aim things a bit more toward the ceiling.
Okay.
He'll even move his lantern and paper appropriately if need to. And then he is going to use his mage hand to knock on the ceiling. Not in a communicative way, but like just like in sort of like basically creating that vibration.
Okay. When you knock, Jorg, you see Terry looking up and then waiting there for a moment. And then you see turn sharply toward the pile of stuff behind him, and he goes toward a specific point. And you see him just go. And then express odd smells again. And then look again. And then odd smells.
Remy, he keeps moving and burping.
Is the smell still confusion, or?
Yeah. So from your point of view, you know that he's expressed confusion. Jorg, from your point of view, you've seen Terry go to a specific point toward all of the debris behind him and try and look at an angle inside of it, and then express odd smells. So this is what each of you perceives and see.
How accessible is that thing he was looking at to me?
You can barely see it. It looks like it's inside of all the debris. As if all of that had fallen on it.
Hmm. Can I... Hey, Ramy, is he like... Is he happy with this debris, or is he... Do you know if... Is this his home now? I don't... If we put him in his box, is that a risk that you're willing to help me take?
Yeah. I mean, from his position, Raimi has no idea where the box is. So
That's a good point.
Raimi has no choice but to minor illusion a question mark.
Well, I'm going to start digging through his pile. I want to find his box.
All right.
Do you think that's a bad idea? Oh, I'm saying this to Raimi, by the way.
As Jorg is moving away all of this debris and slowly taking one thing off and another,
When I'm doing that, I'm making sure he's like okay with it.
You don't see any aggressive move of Terry toward you. However, he does turn toward you, and again, he just go, and you smell an intriguing aroma of field flowers, which, Remy, your spell, as it's slowly arriving at the end right now, you know that this smells means gratitude.
So, Raimi will say to Jork, "Would you like some help, Raimi?"
I'll take some help. If that's what you're offering. Does it smell? Do you know what the smell means?
Can you physically see Raimi? I don't. I have no concept of how you are getting Ramie's attention? Are you just shouting, or?
The pile's like, how high is the pile?
Oh, it's easy to see Remy. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. The pile
Okay,
is
I'm just making sure.
the pile is humongous from the point of view of Terry, but for you,
Yeah.
it's maybe waist high.
Oh,
All right. In which case, Ramie is going to nod.
interesting.
And then Ramie's going to minor illusion box, point to Jorg, and say once again, "Would you like some help, Ramie?"
Yeah. Yeah, let's find this box.
But then once again, he has to point at you.
Oh. At me. Oh. Now I'm confused.
Ramie will point to himself and say, "There's an enemy in our midst."
Oh, he doesn't like you. But what if?
That's a weak word.
What if? I guess he's not going to let you help find his box. But maybe he would. If you do help, you think we could get a little higher reputation between you two?
We're not playing World of Warcraft. Audience, you hear right outside, inside of the court.
100 years.
All right.
When
I'm gonna assume that's core.
you peek outside and you see this gigantic bird, and you see Core looking roughly in your direction and say,
On the fact that
"It's dead now."
Yeah, very fresh. I guess I'll try.
It's a rock.
How large is it? Am I fitting this through the door? Or am I gonna have to cut it up outside and bring pieces of it in?
It's a
Yeah,
rock
do you just want backflip?
Okay.
that's been killed in the last 28 seconds.
Okay. Well, guess I'll be. So what I'm hearing is we have meat for the monastery for the next 3 years.
It's small game
Right.
for Core.
God damn it. Guess I'll go start cutting slabs off. I'll turn to the basic and be like, we're gonna need a clean wheelbarrow, a couple wheelbarrows. And I'm gonna cut off some slabs of meat for the feast, and then we're gonna need to figure out a drying process for the rest of this meat later.
You hear one of them, you don't know who it is, but he's dressed in monk clothes and go, "Yeah, sure, buddy, whatever you say." He points distractingly. "Can you get everything we have that can cut?"
Yep. Pretty much.
You see a few monks trying to enlist peasants to help them.
Actually, it's a rock, right?
Yeah.
We have to defeather it first. God damn it. Like a chicken. Gotta pluck all its feathers off. Alright, guess that's what I'm doing for the next, 2 hours.
Pulling feathers off of a rock.
I bet for something that big, you could skin it.
I don't know if that would be faster.
So, from your point of view, Jorg and Remy, all you hear is. But you don't hear any panicked sound.
Okay.
So at the very least, does Ramie see where Terry is shuffling around inside of his fort?
He's in front of it. Yeah, sure. By standing up, because he's stepped away from this reinforcement, you can see now that he has moved very close to the where this pile of stuff seems to be starting, and because he's a bit distracted, you sort of were able to make one or two other step, and you can see him, and Terry seems to be just looking inside, and it's the demeanor of someone evaluating something, sort of like, can I get in? No.
All right. So Raimi, from his position, is going to use Mage Hand to gently start moving things around. Because, like, I think Raimi's getting at least the impression that he's looking for something.
Okay.
So he's just kind of like moving various things around in the area where Terry is like seems to be observing.
All right. And you, Jorg, keep on removing objects?
Yep.
Okay. So it takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and at one point, Jorg, you find yourself having to finish pulling things out again, because as Remy is concentrating and using his mage hand to lift something, you see Terry look at this chair going up, and this is something you've never seen, but you've all heard that it exists. Jorg, because you're a full caster, and Remy, because you're arcane caster. You see him look in the air, and he seems to be following a trace, as if there was an invisible path floating in the air. And he follows it, and then he follows it, and he follows it right to your hands, Remy, as you're slowly lifting up. Make an intelligence roll. You can make an intelligence roll too, Jorg, if you want.
17.
17, alright.
So I rolled the wrong thing.
Intimidation, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, 13.
13, alright. So, Remy, it's more you. I placed it at 15 to DC at 15. You don't know how he's doing this, but he can actually see the path of magic. When you cast a spell, you need two things: line of sight and line of path for the magic to reach. He can actually see the path of magic from your hands to your mage hand. And as soon as he realized that you're doing this, you smell the skunk back. And you see him just open his mouth and...
So, all right, Raimi, in this moment, he will put it down, but to the best of his ability, especially if he's looking in Raimi's direction, he is going to take his lantern once again, go back to the phrase that he has identified related to safety, and just shine it through the lantern. Basically making that symbol visible from the paper as it's being shown through the shown through the paper, or the holes in the paper.
And are you doing anything else? Moving forward, sideways, backward?
Yes. I will say that he will move just a little bit backward.
Terry looks at the words that you're using, but he still looks at you, and he only reacts when you start moving away, by slowly closing his mouth. Trust is not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Raimi's just going to look at Jorg.
I'll find it, Raimi. Thanks for helping, though.
It only takes a few more minutes of removing debris. Eventually, you find the box, and the box has been overturned, and it's squeezed between a table that has fallen on the side and what looks like a bucket that has fallen on top of it. But there's a bit of organic debris inside it. You look at it, it feels like might have been an improvised chamber pot that smells like poo in there, but it makes it quite heavy, and you get the feeling that that's what was squeezing the box in a way that he couldn't take it away. And as soon as you remove it, you see the box fall in front. You see Remy, you see Terry look at all of his stuff, and you see him just look at everything, and you see fruits and dried meat going on the piece of wood that he has carved in a little bit, and then you see the string get pulled like a sleigh, and he pulls it inside the box. He drags one pint of water, drags it inside the box, goes in the box, turns the box, and you see the slab of wood he was riding on go up. You see a second one go up. They go inside the box, and you see the lid close with Terry inside.
All right. He's getting crafty. I'm gonna pick up the box.
Raimi just breathes a sigh of relief and falls on his back to the ground. This has been a very stressful hour for him.
Yeah. In that case, let's move on. Unless there's something you specifically want to do right now after this. It feels like a nice moment to fade in, fade out. You get all Jorg and Remy. And then you have a fade in with a long table placed at the center of the yard. And huge mushrooms and what looks like pumpkins the size of wheelbarrow being pushed toward the center of the place. You see a few lights everywhere, which Arunak, not Arunak, but Tourane has summoned as a variant of the dancing light. Instead of just being 4, it feels like there's an army of fireflies just dancing above. And you have this feast being prepared with still half of a rock still being carved out by a few people of the monastery, as everyone is serving large slab of meat, bird meat, spiced generously. For some people, apparently a bit too much. They don't have Dragonborn taste. Or maybe audience just rolled really low and messed up the spicing a little bit. You see some...
Well, to be fair, with my cooking rolls today were 161, so...
You messed slightly the spicing, and you realize it when you see people take one piece of meat, put them in their mouth, and go... take a bucket of water and just...
I forgot humans have far weaker taste buds than Dragonborn.
Stronger.
No.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Humans
have
weaker.
No. You have weaker because ours taste more, and that's why we can't handle it. But it was a good. I won't actually say anything negative.
You're weak.
Cooking. Your cooking is very good.
Weak.
So, just for reference, between Jorg and, well, I'd imagine Jorg probably, but I'll ask just in case. Who has Terry's box?
I assume Jorg had it.
Okay. Just to be sure.
Yeah,
Raimi would have insisted that you had the box.
yeah, I figured.
The bigger question is, are you taking Terry out to eat,
Oh
or
yeah.
are you leaving him in the box?
I'll put the box on the table and give him a little food. Let's see what Terry thinks.
Well, it depends. Are you just opening the top and putting food inside of his box, or are you taking him outside of the box on the table and letting him choose?
I'm gonna open it up and put the food in the box.
Okay. Well, you give a variety of stuff, and he just follows what he chose earlier. Fruits, dried meat. You didn't know he ate dried meat. It's the first time. You give him a piece of freshly cooked meat, seasoned. He doesn't even seem to be fazed by the fact that half of the people putting that in their mouth need to finish a bucket of water. He just eats it.
I rolled a constitution check to see how well I could eat it. It's not very... I'm having trouble swallowing it. Sorry, audience.
Audience, you look at Jorg after he's eating this, and you see him starting to sweat profusely. Just... But man, Terry's just eating what you made and doesn't even seem to be flinching.
I have a newfound respect for Terry. Terry understands good food. I'm also more interested. I'm right now staring at Core because I can make fun of Core if you can't handle the spice.
Oh, yeah.
You see Core take a large piece of meat, put it in his mouth. Bit overcooked. Spicing's weak. Sauce doesn't taste a lot. But hey, at least it's food. Better than eating those thing growing in the ground.
Right. Fair enough. I still have respect for her.
I rolled a 19, a 17, and a natural 20. So, he doesn't have any problem at all with your serving.
Well, next, of course, people, audience would like that were, of course, his ladies. Make sure they're not dying from his food.
Well, fortunately, Temptress, because she's a tiefling, has a resistance to fire, so...
Well, I hope my food doesn't need a resistance to fire.
So for her, there's nothing wrong at all. She just... You see her take a piece, eating it, and just... You hear her bend over and tell the person... The spicing is a bit strong. It doesn't let a lot of the flavor of the meat shine through. Maybe you put a little too much in it. You see the person right behind it, right next to her.
Authentic. It's about authentic Dragonborn cooking. The authenticity is more important to me than the...
You see Neifa take a large piece of meat, eat it. You hear her say, I guess they all cook exactly the same. You get the feeling that she knows quite a few Dragonborn.
That's good. She gets it. She gets the authenticity.
You see Amiali takes a piece of the meat, put it in her mouth. So, You really need to concentrate to feel all of the nuances of this. You forgot to grind the salt. Okay.
Listen, we were at a mountain village. We didn't get a lot of salt up there.
We didn't get a salt grinder. Yeah, it was...
Our cooking wasn't nuanced. Like very rustic, small dragonborn village. That's where all my cooking knowledge comes from.
You see her just go again. Oh, you usually grind the pepper also. Well, it's good, whole grain. It gives it distinct flavor. You see one person just looking at her with wide eyes and... What have you been eating?
They said 4 people.
He just shoves a whole lot of very juicy fruit in his mouth and just...
I got new quiver boots on that back.
Well, audience likes his food. He's going to town. With a big slab of beef.
All
Tastes
right.
like home.
Tastes like home. It tastes just like when your father used to cook. That's why everyone started asking you to cook. Just like
Tastes just like those military camp cookings that we'd go out on. Train for a long day. Whip up a quick meal of meat and salt, protein.
You know, the little gravel on it, it's perfectly fine. It helps digest. It gives it a little bit more mineral.
Exactly.
Alright, so... And you find yourself... you find yourself eating an interesting meal, seeing a variety of intriguing performance. There is the person that you call the bard. Try and give a artistic impression of everything that he saw, going from the moment where you entered the cell in which he was with your mace glowing, and you have a beautiful story of the combat that you never saw between Tourane and the incarnation, the full incarnation of the hunter avatar. There's a moment, and he explains it quite well. Rolled a 17, so he's managing to put interesting image in your mind, and every time everyone just, yeah, that's pretty accurate. I didn't know he was this good. Then you hear this one person go, he's gonna fuck it up, don't worry. But he doesn't. He just keeps on going, and you have this long description of the fight between the wolf and the tree, just going at one another. At one point, the wolf just bursting into shadow and then reappearing behind the tree, biting him. The tree looks injured, but he just turned around, and everyone saw a wave of what looks like spikes just thrusting from the ground and skewering part of the wolf, who just fell back. And as he tried to decapitate Orunak, not an Orunak, but Tourane, unfortunately Tourane managed to grab him by the maws. Right before it happened, he just pulled it apart, and then there was this large burst of shadow disappearing, and that's how the fight ended.
Yo, you gotta be frightened with those.
Audience claps. Audience gives a big clap. She's very impressed. She's already made his calling cards for talent agent because he was the only one who saw the potential. He added it to his resume.
No.
And so the evening goes on like this with merriment. You also see Temptress doing a little dancing. And
Is there a pole set up for that?
no. You sort of had this moment of expectation when you see her get up on the stage, but that it doesn't happen quite the way that you think it does. However,
You win this.
I'd like you, each and every one of you, make a wisdom saving throw.
I said she couldn't kill everybody.
Oh, a nat 20.
Oh,
Oh yeah, bonk the horny away.
What really fucked me wasn't even the fear. Jinx just went to the bush.
Are they within 10 feet of me, by the way?
if they want to.
Actually, I guess everyone within 10 feet of me gets +2 to their wisdom saving throw.
Alright. I got 26 then.
All right.
Whoever's within 10 feet of me.
I mean, I don't think that'll quite save me though. I only have even with that only gives me a 14.
Okay.
I got a 16.
16, all right. So, Remy, once again, you feel this odd feeling of no sexual attraction whatsoever toward her, but this odd romantic attraction as she's doing this dance with these huge war fans that just when she opens are the size of Amiali's chakram, so the size of a human torso in diameter. But she's just making this beautiful dance, and you have this odd feeling when you look around, audience, you look at everyone is completely mesmerized by what she's doing. You even see one get up and have a few steps, and you see the person right behind him grabbing by the neck, grabbing by the shirt and just sit him down again. But you feel this attraction, but you're not completely mesmerized. There's sort of this moment of, oh wow, yeah, that's right, she's an enchantress.
Audience is gonna actually take the role of making sure he's gonna take the role of making sure no one does anything stupid, like ends up harming themselves. He's gonna kind of casually stand up and start looking for any potential people that might be fully losing it and might need to be grabbed.
You definitely have to grab a few ones, because I heard some of the rolls I made were really low. So you have a few people just getting up and you just sit down, you'll thank me later moment with the guy.
Dump a little water on their head. Okay, cool off there.
Just a mug. Here you go. That's gonna help.
Wake up.
And the evening ends with this interesting show. A little bit of music, a few people knowing instrument. It's not bardic level of beautiful, but it's, village enthusiasm. And the evening ends with this. Nothing bad happens. You all go to a place where you can sleep, and it's a bit crowded. There's a lot of people in the monastery, but
If I could do one thing,
yes, of course.
Like as it's looking like everyone's going to sleep for the evening, Raimi is going to find audience, and I don't know, what would audience be doing? Just before trying to sleep, I guess.
Probably helping clean up.
Right.
Since
So
it was
then-
kind of his event.
All right, so Raimi, during this, is going to walk up and kind of tug a bit on your pants.
Audience is right now trying to deconstruct the table he built. He still built one table. Yeah. And now he's enjoying destroying the table he built.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
dismantling it.
Yeah. Yes, Raimi?
So Raimi is going to reach into to one of his coat pockets and produce a ring.
Ah. Do I recognize the ring from the one... Oh, I guess I never saw it. Did I
Yeah,
see
you
it?
never. You're not the one who found it.
I know. Okay. Ah, that's very pretty.
Raimi is going to to take your left hand, and he is going to put the ring on one of your fingers.
Okay. Is
No,
it
just for
fashion?
fun, it's going to be the left-hand mailman finger.
Okay.
Alright.
And he's just going to like close your hand, give you a wave, and walk away.
Alright. Audience is going to be a little confused. He's going to be like, well, I'm not sure if I was just proposed to or not. I guess, do I feel any different with the ring? Or is it just a nice ring?
Give it in an hour.
If
Okay.
it's the ring that I think it is, in an hour, you feel a sense of protection washing over you. It's a ring of protection that you gave him.
Yes,
Do you have to attune to that? Right, you do, I think.
it is an attunement. Yes,
Okay.
that's why I said it
That's
takes an hour.
That's actually my last attunement slot.
Oh.
Okay. That works.
Yeah.
Audience is gonna move it to a different finger. He knows enough about human marriage customs that he's like, I feel like Remy did this purposely, and I'm gonna move it to a different finger.
Like, look, even just for the briefest moment, even if it's never going to happen, he just wanted to live the fantasy just for a little longer.
He'll move it to one of his pointer fingers.
It fits better on the pinky. You're a dragonborn after all.
Oh, sure. I guess I'll move it to my pinky then. That's cool.
It adjusts. It's a magical object. You can put it on whatever
Alright.
ring, whatever finger you want.
I'm like John to go away from more dogs. Then I know.
Alright, I guess. Cool. Thank you, Remy.
Alright.
Speaking of, I should go give my probably my diamond to Jorg. Use it.
Well, you're rock. You're
rock.
diamond like rock.
I wanted to look. Does
You're
it
right.
have to be a cut diamond?
It only says that the diamond has to be worth 300, I think, or is it 100? I'm not sure.
300.
300, I think.
100 is greater restoration.
Yeah, all right.
And I'm back up to 17 AC. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
19.
Alright, and so the evening ends. You all go to bed. Find a place. And don't worry, it's not raining outside. It's just that people like it better when there's sound.
And I guess, thinking about it, Rainy will also take the time to attune to the coin. Even if only temporarily, because
Okay.
it'll depend on
Yeah.
the future.
No, sure.
You see, Remy, aren't you lucky? Aren't you glad that audience stopped you from washing away all the black gunk? When you got the shiny coin.
What luck. Or is it maybe the coin just wanted to make sure that it wasn't washed away? It's cursed!
It slowly turns you into a black pudding.
That would be
Oh.
mean. That would be
You
so
used to
mean.
be an adventurer.
What?
It's the right color. Alright, so the evening ends and you all go to bed, bathed with images of the evening and the show and the stories and the dancing and all the pretty lights and ribbons. I think that's an interesting moment to take our 15-minute break. Alright. So, let's see what time it is. That's easy gonna be, that's something that's gonna be easy to remember. Alright, so see you all in 15 minutes. Take a moment to go get something to drink, to eat, go to the bathroom, become a follower, and and we'll see you back in 15 minutes.
Jesus.
See you in 15 minutes.
See.
Ah, welcome back. Don't worry, we didn't lose audience. He's going to be back in a few moments.
No, this is the part where you joke that the audience is right here.
All right. So, well, in that case, we're going to take advantage of the fact that the audience needs a few more minutes to come back. And we're going to go in the middle of the night. Jorg. As the images of the previous day and the festivities and the god and dying and fills your mind. And you try to make a sense of all that happened recently. You find yourself falling asleep and thinking of those things. And then, from your perspective, you were just looking at things, thinking, and slowly falling like this. And when you open up your eyes again, you're walking on a dirt path. It's a lovely day, clear, not a lot of wind, which is a bit odd for the island chain you're on. But you're just walking, and it's a pretty nice day. As your field of view increases, you look around and you notice that on one side, there seemed to be a plantation of something. There are a lot of things growing and it's being supported. A bit like a vineyard. And then you see on the other side, it's just something that's growing rampant. But immediately your attention focuses toward what's in front of you as you realize this. And right in front of you, you see Terry. With all of its 2.5 inches long. Just looking at you. And he just looks at you and cocks his head. Cock his head the other way. And then you realize that he's sitting right in the middle of a T intersection. You see him look to one side with his ear left. And this is when you realize that the field to your left is completely overgrown. It's sort of like letting a vineyard wild. It just grew and stifled everything. It grew out of proportion, large vines. It completely stifled life everywhere. And it feels like it just eventually became this corrupted landscape. Then you see Terry look the other way, to what is your right. And you see that the vineyard is healthy, but you notice that there are people making sure that the vines grow upward so that they're neat, the ground is clean, fruits are growing on it. It's all neatly attached to the framing around it. Then your attention goes back to Terry, who slides a little bit toward the side that is corrupted and overgrown. And then he turns around and he slides a little bit toward the side that has been tutored in this neat, nice, harmonious field. And then he looks at you. You have this moment of understanding that comes to you as you look at Terry looking at you. And you see he doesn't see the difference. and he's looking at you for guidance. And this is when you wake up.
Oh. I want to find Terry's box.
It's right where you left it.
Uh-huh.
Probably in your backpack.
I just want to see if I want to open it and see if Terry. Just see what he's doing.
It's close to morning, and when you open it, you just look inside, and you see Terry writing on his wall. He looks a bit tired. He's a bit slower and writing. For how long do you watch him?
Just a couple minutes, probably.
In that case, for the entire time that you watch him, he's writing.
All right. All right.
He looks at you once or twice, takes a moment to really stare at you, the way he keeps doing. Then he goes back to writing.
What were you doing in my dreams, Terry? I'll say that mostly to myself, but kind of at Terry.
All right. And so, you easily fall back into sleep, and finish your night. And you wake up in the morning. I swear I'm gonna have other music than just rain or rain, thunderstorm, or fire and battle music. So I've been trying to do too many things at once, and it's been hindering me from completing something. But yeah, the morning comes, you all wake up, you all find yourself quite easily. You were sleeping not far from one another. Jorg, Remy, Tobiyashi, he looks a bit groggy. You think he maybe drank a little too much. And so the best that you can drag out of him is... If you want to say more, you have to be there. And that's my 5 cent. Oh, I'm player, not there. So, so as morning comes, what do you all do? You most likely were all sleeping in the same room.
Hey, guys, Terry was in my dreams.
That's
Last
always
night.
a nice beginning for a morning.
I think he put himself there. Dreams don't seem to have much of coincidences anymore.
I'm gonna look at Jorg. I'm gonna look at Terry. And look back at Jorg. And be like, glad you had a good night last night, Jorg.
He does need a new dad.
When you look into the box, you do notice one thing that none of you have ever noticed before. You wake up, but Terry's asleep.
He was writing all last night. He must be tired.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice follow-up.
You think?
Jorg. Go ahead, Jorg. Go ahead.
Do you think Terry being here means Fisher's okay?
I have no idea. I don't think they're connected. I think he's just... I think they're kind of separate entities. I mean, we know Fisher's traveling. We don't know whether he's okay or not. He can kind of pop out at any time.
Yeah. I sure hope Fisher's okay.
I do too. I miss Fisher. He's a good man to have at your side in a fight. Not so much in other situations. But in a fight, he was good to have by your side.
Yeah.
Right.
He's good at causing fight and in fights.
Alright. Our goal today was try and meet up with the other group, right?
Well, you have two options if you want to meet up with the group. You can either wait for them here, which means they're going to be there sometime next morning, but since they're already walking toward you, if you go toward them, there's a very high chance that you're going to meet up with them before the end of the day.
Whenever he uses that pole and he misses, that's just.
I mean, we don't need to even really be here anymore. I mean, I
No.
think we could basically teleport back to the garden. I think we've taken care of everything here. So we might as well go meet up with them, see how they're, make sure that they're all safe. Nothing bad has happened to them.
I need to use up my.
And then basically move on from there, teleport back to the garden or wherever else we need to go. Once we get the orb to be in a place where it's green again, which I think is out of the mountains.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see the garden again.
Tobiyashi just says, "Oh."
Oh, Jorg, I have something for you. And I'm going to give Jorg the uncut diamond I have. I found this in the Dwarven ruin. From my knowledge, I believe you can use this in one of your spells from talking with, what was her name? The girl that died. I already slipped my mind. She's dead now.
Girl that died.
Oh,
Damn, she's
The
already out of
tragedy
his
of
mind. Gaten.
Kathan. Talking with Kathan. And I don't think it's cut yet, so you're probably going to need to get it cut. But here's, I think the gem itself should work. So
thanks.
I gave one to Remy too, but it's up to him whether he gives you his.
I see. Well, I guess hopefully we won't need to anytime soon.
Yeah.
If we do, I know to use this one on Tobiyashi. If you're also dead.
yeah.
Raimi
that's good.
will give up one to save you. I know that for sure.
Oh, I mean, guess that's technically smart.
Which means maybe
Where did my thing go?
maybe you doomed
Oh, it's
yourself.
It's in my backpack. It's in my backpack.
Alright. So, you exchange gift in the morning. Remy, you just heard audience betray that he gave you a rock.
I did say it was his though. I didn't say he had to give it up. I just said I gave one to him.
You might hear off of the distance a cat hissing sound.
Alright. So, anything else before leaving the room? Alright. Yes?
I don't know. Does it seem like the group is intending to leave immediately?
Right now, I'm just asking, are you leaving the room?
Yeah, we're probably gonna leave pretty immediately. So
Yeah, I didn't expect him to flash on.
Yeah, even though this is the perfect time to do it, there's not enough time to do it. So
Okay. Were you planning on using a potion?
no, Raimi, since Terry was asleep, Raimi was considering taking this as the perfect opportunity to start actually like making his own written copy of Terry's logs.
Well, it's morning. You still need to eat before you leave. I mean, the audience says he's planning to leave very soon, but let's face it, there's at least an hour before you get to leave. So, at least
yep.
in the 3 months I've spent walking, when someone says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna leave early today," there's always at least an hour before the moment they get up and the moment they leave.
Alright then. Raimi will seize this opportunity to start writing because he doesn't know the next time he'll have the opportunity to do this.
Alright.
Without being harassed.
Alright. In that case, you get the feeling that Terry seems to be deeply asleep. Either it's his normal time to sleep, or he's just exhausted from the ordeal he had to go through.
Raimi would believe either. Because just based on the state that things had been left in, it's like it would not be surprising if it burned every bit of energy Terry could possibly give.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait for
And
him.
here you go. I sent you this. As you're watching this and you're looking at the last few entries, you get the feeling that he fell asleep while writing the previous day occurrences. So you might have half a day missing in total. So, as you're gathering around, preparing to eat, eating up, you notice that Amiali, Temptress, Core, and Darking are already ready. They're giving their last goodbyes. They're looking at all of you as you just entering to eat, saying, Amiali takes point in saying this is, well, we're gonna be leaving right now. There's another group, just a little bit more experienced than you, that apparently had to go through a interesting battle. We're just gonna go make sure that they don't need more help, as they are quite far. We'll meet up with you and the rest of the group, either when you reach up with them or at the garden.
Alright. Have fun.
You hear Core say,
Core,
"We always try."
What is that healing?
Yeah. Core, did you have fun with the road camp, or is it still around? I didn't know if you had time for that.
Holy shit.
Being on my radar.
Were you hoping I would leave leftovers?
No. I just was wondering if they were still around.
Ah, good. He gives you a large slap on the back. Well, maybe someone escaped my gaze, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Dude,
Audience is gonna go to his map and mark X over the road camp.
You look in the general direction of the camp, and you see this trail of smoke going up in the air.
Glad you got your morning stretches in, Core. Glad I could help you.
Yeah.
Alright.
I left before the corpse were done burning. It's always a good thing to not leave corpse on the out. Never know when undead might come in.
Fair enough. Alright, well, I'll see you later. Have fun.
It's always the goal.
Oh.
Darkane transform into this large dragon. Takes on board Amiali and Core, and Temptress just spreads out her sorceress wings, and they all fly up and leave. So,
I kind of sighs. Like I feel a little bad for the rogues, but they chose their path.
or rather, you chose it for them.
Well, they chose their path to be rogues.
Yeah. All right.
Audience just like popping his chest like those filthy rogues got what they deserved. And then Raimi just off in the corner, a single tear dripping down his face.
He doesn't have any anime sweat drop anymore. That's why there's a real tear. Alright, you eat up and you see a lot of people come in and they talk to you a little bit about the evening, about how good it was. You notice that Neifa is still here. She seems to be taking care of a few things, making sure everyone is good and healthy. She's looking at a few of the children, but she's still in the temple. You have Turane, who toward the last third of your meal just comes in and, well, if you don't mind, if you don't need me anymore, I need to go back to my things.
Of course. Thank you so much for your help.
I will always endeavor to help someone who so graciously helped me in the past. He gives you a slight bow, and you just see all of this root system go back into the ground, and he doesn't turn into dead wood. He just gets reabsorbed by the ground. And
I'll turn to Neifa after he disappears, I guess, and I'll be like, are you gonna hang out for the monastery for a little while longer?
Just a few days. Just make sure everything is alright, that there is not going to be some sort of retribution. But I'm
Makes
pretty
sense.
sure that nothing else is going to happen. It's too bad for them. But I have a feeling that we'll get to meet one another again.
I'm sure. I'd love to meet your bard friend as well at some point.
Oh yes, I'm pretty sure you'll find him quite easily. I gather you have quite a lot of resource wherever you're going back. Oh, and little dear, and she points toward you, Remy, and gives you a little sign to come close.
Kind of like raising a ridge, just like gets closer.
When you find my friend, please, before he gets to see you, tell him this exactly as I'm saying. Oh, Snuggy Poo! Don't worry, he's not gonna react too badly to you, but I very much would love it if you could show me how you reacted next time we see each other.
The Raimi blinks for a moment, a little bit confused, but he'll nod and just kind of like put up the okay sign with his talons.
She gives you a wink and, alright, well then. I gather that you are leaving as soon as you finish eating?
Yes, we should be.
Alright then. I will see you off in a few minutes then. I'll just take care of this one, and she points toward one of the child running after another one with a large piece of wood in his hand. He doesn't seem to get it. That was an elemental. Never mind.
I've been there. In real life, not in the game. Camp counselor. I've been there.
So, finish up eating. Remy, you keep on transcribing as much as you can. Like I said, you get the feeling that you're missing half a day, the last one. Most likely Terry fell asleep while writing. But other than that, everything's there. And the moment comes to depart. You have a few of the peasants gathering, a few of the monks also. You have Neifa just there as she promised. A few of the peasants just look at all of you and say, well, thank you very much for all of the help you did. It was incredibly kind, and we will always remember this. You hear a child go, who are they? You hear one was like, dear, they're the person that rescued us. Are they friend of the tree? I believe so.
Oh yeah.
Although, to be fair, Raimi already has a pretty good rapport, at least with the children.
Yeah, except one.
Apparently, well, except one.
You get a few priests saying, well, if ever you are in need, you can always come at us and we will do our best to help you in whatever way we can. Then you have Neifa, who just comes right toward you. And, well, like I said, I'm pretty sure we'll meet up again. It just feels like it's inevitable. So, travel well, and stay safe.
You as well.
She takes one step back, and you hear a child screaming. You see her turn around, and as you see this, you immediately notice that all of the priests around you seem to freeze up for a moment. And all of their stares are going right toward Neifa, who is currently standing her back to you.
Oh, okay.
You see a few of the priests start moving toward her, and some of them are just looking at her. Puzzled, baffled, bewildered, some of them.
I want to go around her and see what they're looking at.
Are you the only one who does that? What about audience and Remy?
Audience would. Audience would be a little confused. He'd be like, that's weird.
It's like, dude.
Spooky.
So, you go around and you watch her, and you see that she's just staring right in front of her. Her hands are just dangling on the side of her body, and suddenly she falls on her knees, staring up, and this is when you see it. Her eyes are white, shining white, radiant, sacred, shining white. And then you hear a voice coming out of her, one that is not hers. Far more powerful, deep, resonating. It feels like your very soul just has this shiver when you hear the voice. It echoes
Dragon isn't here.
It echoes in your mind, and you hear, the hunter has awakened. 3 trophies will it seek. Essence from the shadow of a god. The will of an unbreakable mind. A feather hidden in a dream. Only then can the blood of the sacrifice be accepted. And then there's silence everywhere. You see her eyes shine brighter and brighter. Remy, because you have such a high passive perception, there is a moment where you see that light gathering around her eyes seems to darken just outside of her eyes. And as the light becomes incredibly bright You can swear the shadows makes the mask of a raccoon around her eyes. And she just falls to the ground. Unconscious.
Ada Gabe, I'm gonna need you to send that prophecy to Discord later so I can write it in my notes.
Jorg wants to go check, see if she's
Yeah.
okay.
Audience would also run over to check on her.
You notice immediately that her body seems to have underwent a tremendous stress. It was taken to its limit, but she's alive. Her pulse is slowly steadying, but she's completely out of it.
Alright. I guess I'll call the priest over. I'll be like, she needs some rest. Can someone take her to a bed? It seems like she's gonna be okay, but she'll need some rest. Her body was taxed heavily.
All of the priests around it, you just, yeah, sure. You hear them just whisper around. Go, I've never seen that. I know that it could happen, but yeah, that's incredible. You see a few of them just gently getting her up and carrying her away.
You rolled a skill. Thank you.
Audience will turn to the party and be like, well, seems that we're not completely successful. Seems like the hunter god has awakened then, although at least we now know how to stop him and what he's looking for.
Yeah. It sounds kind of like he's looking for us.
I don't know. I mean, we'll write down the prophecy at some point. We'll bring it to the garden and the rest of the group and see what opinions they have as well.
Yeah.
And we'll just put that prophecy right next to the first prophecy. Cow is white as milk, cape is red as blood, hair is yellow as corn, and a slipper is pure as gold. He hasn't found those yet, so...
So these are your last moment in the temple. Don't worry, I will send you the full prophecy in Discord. I can probably just send it right now, but
Yeah, and then I guess we'll continue to head out with maybe a little bit more on our minds than a couple seconds ago.
Yeah.
here you go. This is the prophecy.
Alright.
Oh, pardon, the first prophecy was snitches get stitches.
So, you walk out of this place with more questions than when you entered. The day starts pretty well. It's actually not raining, like I said. I know that people prefer it when there's noise. It's actually a pretty clear day, not too windy, and slightly chilled in the morning.
Something bad's gonna happen. It's not windy. It's too quiet.
So you start walking, and I believe was it Remy or Jorg who took Orenak's seed when you left?
I presently have the seed.
You presently have the seed. All right. So you gather your things and you start making your way out toward where all of the rest of the adventurers are. So you start walking, and the day is fairly calm.
I'm talking to you about that.
I imagine that audience is on his cat.
I am on my cat.
Okay.
I'm on Magna. Yes.
All right. So you have points, and you're moving. I'd say because you have points, perception roll.
Enjoy these advantage
Yes.
T20s while I still can.
Rolls 2 nat 1s.
Now I rolled 21 for perception.
All right. You walk for a good hour, and eventually you come to a place where it's oddly flat, as if someone had just taken a large knife and cut everything, even the stones. And just at the limit of your perception, you can see a single person facing away from the party as it's arriving. It's on its knees.
I will speed up with my cat in case the person's in trouble or injured.
Jorg, Remy, Tobiyashi, you speeding up also?
Yeah, I wanna keep up.
Alright. So,
Can we see?
Technically, you can't keep up, but you can be close.
so
yeah.
Magna adjusts a gentle jog, and the rest of the group starts sprinting!
Magna gently lopes.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like I could do 90 feet around.
Yeah,
That's only
that's
10
right.
feet behind.
So Jorg
Remy can be
starts sprinting, and Tobiyashi and Remy are just...
George's like, screw this, just change his form.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what we're doing. But I don't even know if I can see the figure over there.
Well, since audience sees it and he's going right toward it, I'd give you advantage in perception if you want to.
Alright. Okay, a 26 is what he gets.
As soon as audience starts moving toward this person, you sort of... your eyes focuses and you see him, and Remy, because of your passive perception, yeah, the same thing happens.
Cool.
Re-
I recognize it.
Well, it takes a few moments, but as you're arriving, and 200 feet, 175 feet, 150 feet, this is when you start
Alright, dude,
recognizing
actually, you sight-placing yourself there, safety game.
what's embroidered in the clothes he's wearing, which looks very simple. You can see his arms. He seems to be wearing something that's akin to a tunic, but without sleeve. But on his back, you see the head of the hunter cult. It is someone wearing the emblem of the hunter cult. But he's not moving. He is on his knees, staring away from all of you.
I will change to stealth.
That's a good idea.
Make sure it's not a... yeah.
Alright.
That's going to be a 17 plus 5, so 22 for stealth.
You are fairly convinced that you are stealthily advancing toward this character.
Jorg will also try to be stealthy, but he's well
Go
behind. With a 7.
He's trying to move forward, and then you hear, God, my toe.
I know for you. And Ramy used to be right next to you, but then with the 25, he's just gone.
So audience and Remy vanish, and Jorg...
Jorg is left there with screaming at his toe that he's just stopped on the only rock left in the field.
Actually, that's the real reason why Ramy disappeared. He's making so much noise, he didn't want to be anywhere near Jorg.
Tobiyashi rolled a decent stealth roll,
No, they
but
don't
nothing
have to
stellar.
wait.
I believe it's a 15. So, he is slightly stealthy. But you make your way and you move toward him, and when you arrive at maybe 70 feet or so, Closer
I think
to
I'll control like that, right?
50, 75 feet, 60 feet. Yeah. You arrive within distance of a sprint. This is when you hear this voice coming out from this person, just saying, they all thought that this is where it started, where it ended.
Yeah, he only by himself, I think.
They all thought that this was the end. Success.
Alright, yeah.
Ernick was right.
Come in.
They weren't paying attention. There's so much more.
They don't have
This
to
is
go
not
in
the
this.
end.
Alright, I stopwatch.
This is not even the beginning of the end. But maybe this is the end of the beginning. He stands up really fast and turns in your directions. And this is when you see the emblem of the hunter god also on his chest shift and start to change shape. And you have this familiar, especially for audience and Remy, and Tobiashi, but he's going, "Ugh," so he's already a bit groggy about this. You have this shifting sensation in your stomach. For you, Jorg, this is new, however. This pit that forms immediately. You see the shape on the front of this person, the emblem starts to shift and try to adopt a form. Your mind is racing. It feels like you're putting all of your concentration against your will, trying to figure out what this shape is. But every time your mind settles on something, it just moves away, and you're left with this inability to say anything. Your mind to come up with a concept. The only thing that comes to your mind when you're watching this is it's unshaped.
We've seen this before.
And I'm gonna give you a choice right now, because this is exactly where the stream could end. But if we take one more second, it's an initiative roll.
Oh, we can bear it. Very spot.
I am generally uncomfortable going into a fight when someone's character is involved and they're not here.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, go to your spotlight.
Yeah, I think we should probably wait till next session, especially because we don't know how long this fight's going to be.
Well, that's why I was so disappointed in the fact that he wasn't here today.
Yeah.
Fortunately, like I said, you took longer than usual. However, for poor Fisher, who might join us next week, I guess I'll say maybe you should join us after the break. Next
Alright.
week.
What do you mean? Fisher could just pop out randomly in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, sure. You know that there's nothing weird
Gods
about
work in
this.
mysterious ways.
We just see a portal open, Fisher just gets tossed out in front of the guy.
Look, if I have learned anything from Isekai, is that random portals in the sky with people falling out of them is just a common occurrence that all of us have to accept.
Yeah, no, that is true.
I have to admit, I am slightly uncomfortable with how comedic and parody-like this moment would be, but I am also torn by the fact that it would be slightly mean to force him to wait half an episode to join, but it's also consistent with the fact that you all made the end of this chapter, and he didn't. So maybe we'll talk more about it.
It doesn't really make sense for him to drop out of the sky. That was more of a joke.
He could
At
show
least
up
not
with
without
a group
taking
meeting.
fall damage.
Just die, just immediately gets knocked out.
Start the fight! Everyone roll initiative! Fisher, roll that save!
It's like we're all getting ready to fight. We're in this episode. We start, it's just a scream. We just look out. There's just this robot falling from like 100 feet up.
Oh.
Or plot twist, this cultist could be Fisher.
Bum, bum, bum.
It is Fisher.
It all makes sense now. That's why Terry was left behind. He didn't want his child to see him turn into this.
All right.
Not a robot?
You know, priorities can be weird sometimes.
Yeah, no. But we should probably end it here.
Yeah.
Very well, then in that case, there is a chance that Tobiyashi will actually be joining the fight. And not just be a background character being groggy that I don't really want to play because I don't know how he'd actually react in the fight. But, then in that case...
Probably at the very least out of breath.
Yeah, his head is magically going to clear out and he'd better be there next episode, otherwise I am pulling his leg out. Alright, well, in that case, it means that this is where the episode ends for tonight. And next episode, it starts with an initiative roll. And, as you might have guessed, the actual, real last fight of the chapter.
Uh-oh.
We don't even know who this guy is.
No,
Just a random dude.
but even though you do not know the name of this, you know that this stands for one thing. An audience in the entire group, well, Tobiyashi also, you're the only two who've actually fought someone like this before. True, it was just a goblin. It wasn't impressive, but maybe this one will be.
Unlimited power!
Yeah, guys, be ready to, like, kill this guy pretty easily, like, immediately, and then, like, he's gonna change into something worse.
Yeah.
Because that's what audience has seen before with this sign.
Like, we didn't
Uh-oh.
kill him. We just unlocked his second health bar.
Basically, the first, we kill him, and then in the second part of the second stage of the boss fight, he starts playing.
Alright, well, next episode is going to be an interesting fight to start the episode. I admit, it's a bit weird to start an episode with the end of a chapter. But hey.
It's the beginning of the end.
Exactly. Alright, so, thank you for watching, and we hope you'll be there next week for this amazing fight that I've been planning for several months. So I hope it's a challenge, because I'm going to be really angry at D&D Beyond if it's not.
Alright, let me get my two crits off the bat ready for the like 150 damage to start.
Oh dear
Personally, I
God,
blame the rap music.
if you do 150 damage on the first round, nasty surprise waiting for you. Oh goodness.
The DM's just gonna go in. That's the memes you show when the player's having too easy time with the boss. The player just go and add another 0 to all the stats of the boss. They're just clicking it, just like 0, 0, 0. It's like 100 health, 1,000 health.
Oh, well, so far I've been meaning to do that because D&D Beyond's battle planner is shit. I'm sorry, but it is. I had to get that out of my chest. It's been so frustrating living with that. So, thank you all for watching, and we hope you'll be there next week for the amazing fight that is to come. If you got here a bit late, didn't get to catch the beginning, don't worry, there's a rebroadcast on Friday. But just like today, you're not going to get the fight on Friday. You're going to have to be there either next Wednesday or next Friday. Well, second next Friday.
Unless you're a time traveler.
Yeah, well, in that case, we'll see you in a few minutes. But for everyone else, we'll see you back in 1 week. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also support the stream by making a donation, becoming a Patreon, subscribing to the channel, and also simply by spreading the word. Getting more people to visit us. Because it's fun. At least I get a thrill when I look at the chat and there's a lot of things written there. I enjoy it. It's fun. And I promised, eventually I'm gonna manage to finish everything I want to finish. And there's gonna be more music. There's gonna be animation when you become a follower, when you give bits, when you become a subscriber. I know what I want. I just need to get through a large stack of tutorial with a 3D software. But I'll get there. Don't worry about it. If I can just concentrate on one thing, I'll get there. So, see you all next Wednesday or Friday. Until then, stay safe and, especially right now, stay healthy. Good night.
Good night.
See ya.